looked at it, yeah, because we want to talk about that.
I did look at my email this afternoon. Did it come this afternoon?
Yes.
Came this morning.
Today, sometime today.
I got it. So
Come back.
we got it. Yeah.
We don't know where exactly you addressed that or.
Is this something that you need to add to the agenda?
No.
Oh.
If you want to explain it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
certainly. Can you see me over here?
Yeah.
All right. What this is, we've been informed by the County of Wayne, our library, Taylor Community Library, is a branch of the county library.
Right.
There are 15 employees, 1 is an ARP employee, 4 are City of Taylor employees, 10 are county employees. We've been informed by the county that they will be out of the library business as of June 30th. So
Wow.
July 1st has to be either a City of Taylor library or no library. So that's where we are. We need to know how to proceed.
Well, I think I know we
We have had
budgeted
some
kind of,
talks.
yeah, so I
The budget was approved. I was told to prepare it as a city budget, as if the budget were going forward with the city. But that is kind of yeah,
I'm not sure I understand. Are
the
you
time
looking
is
for
winding
direction?
down. Yes.
So we're no different. We're waiting for Labor Council to still intervene on the process of the employees. In terms of what we do as a city, we pass a resolution and it becomes a city library.
right.
But it's the
We
employee
budgeted
portion.
for that,
It's the
right?
employee portion.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that that's handled the correct way, and unfortunately, we cannot speed that up any faster than we're already going right now.
Okay, so there's nothing that, we cannot add anything to the agenda.
No, had I known John Clark was here and he's working on it, we could have asked him for an update.
His partner is working on it, and there are some questions that his partner needed. We're providing him with some of those answers, so, again, I can't make him.
So we may have to close it for a little while?
No, you pass a resolution. More than likely, you could have a special meeting late in the month and pass a resolution. It takes a legislative act of city council to transition back to a city library.
What's the labor
So it
issue
was a
that
city
impacts
library at
us?
one time?
You know what that
Actually, I can't go back. As far as I know, there have been libraries.
I know.
No, I believe this has always
Always
been a
back
branch
county.
of the
Okay.
county library, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. what did you say?
Except maybe back in the 1920s.
Okay.
You know, when there was a Taylor Center branch. It's possible then. Ever since that, I believe it was the county. I mean, it's a long history with the county, where the county at one time had control of all the libraries, and then they gave control back to all the cities, and then about 10 years later, in the 30s or 40s, they took control back. So it's been an up and down thing, and it's been slowly shrinking and shrinking, so now there are not very many libraries left. And it's just, part of the problem is there are deadlines. So for people who either need to, everybody on the staff wants to continue. They would like to become City of Taylor employees,
Okay.
but they need to know what
to do.
to do. And, yeah.
It's all in the email.
Yeah, I saw.
There's succession clauses that are in their contracts that we're not sure if they become a city employee, how do they become a city employee? Do they come as a personal service contract? Do they become a member of that particular union? We don't know, and I realize that there's deadlines and that the county made this immediate knee-jerk decision to pull the plug.
Yes.
What
but
happens to their retirement?
we have to
that
make
you've
sure we
already
do it the
paid
right
into,
way.
Right?
I'm sorry?
Your retirement that you've been paying into is part of the county retirement, correct?
Yeah.
So how, yeah.
There was another proposal to take over the library for the blind, which unfortunately we just, what I talked to Jason and Amanda about is I'd love to entertain it, don't know if we can physically handle it or not, but we cannot even make that decision until we get all of this worked out first. We have to handle our own business first and foremost.
So at this point, the library's going nowhere.
No.
It's going to maybe change names, and we're just going
It's not gonna
through
change names.
right, and we're just trying to go through the motions of figuring out the process of switching over.
Our
from one to the
goal
other.
is that the employees that work there today will work there on July 1st. They'll just pick up a check from the city of Taylor or not Wayne County.
Okay.
But I'm sure that we can accomplish that goal, but the roadmap to getting there is what we're trying to determine right now.
It seems like just June 30th is just a short deadline for.
Yeah, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
bam, you know.
Yes, it is a very short
I'm
deadline.
sure your
And they
staff's
did make
pretty-
that decision very
pretty
quickly.
stressed.
I mean, well, just needing to know, you know, so.
I think right around the same time as the budget discussions were going on, we met with Tom Coaches, And he had informed us that that was our official notification that they're getting out of library business. So that was a couple weeks, you know, there hasn't been a lot of time, but
Right.
again, we met the challenge, we handed it off to the Labor Council, and now we're waiting for their response.
But you're not saying that there's anything in their existing contract that would somehow impact the contract that they would have with the city of Taylor? I mean, they either need to resign or retire and then apply for a job with the city of Taylor, correct?
We think that's the process.
And then wherever we decide to place them, then they'll be entitled to the pay and benefits already in place and applicable to that bargaining unit or personal service contract. That would be up for us to decide.
That's correct. Yeah, there would be no predetermined number. One would argue that, would you try to keep it as comparable as you can? Absolutely. But it doesn't necessarily mean, if you post new positions, it could be anything.
Right, because we're not contractually liable to anything, any agreement they have with the county. So what they had for an entity that shut it down doesn't have a lot of bearing for what they have with the new entity running the library.
That's what we're clarifying with Labor
Yeah.
Council.
Maybe that was an opinion and a statement, I don't know.
Definitely an opinion.
Your employees, are they all vested for retirement from the county?
No.
No? How many do you have vested? Or do you know?
3 for certain. And part of it depends on what plan they came in under. The county has 6 different retirement plans,
Right.
so it depends on when you were hired. If you're under what Plan 4, that's completely a defined contribution plan, so they would they would sign the papers, and then they would either keep their money with the county to administer, or they would take it and invest it somewhere. Basically a 401k. If you're in one of the other 2, the hybrid plans,
5 or
then
6.
yes, you have to have
A
to
certain-
retire, you have
an
to have the age
And years. to
and the
reach
years, right. So there are two people in those plans that meet that. There is one person who's been there 30 years.
She applied once still?
It's a he, and I'm not even sure what
Okay.
plan he's in, but he's in, but, you know, at that point, yeah. He's part-time, so it's not
Oh,
that
okay.
he would, and being that they're part-time, their options are very limited, because the county, as with part of the city, they don't have part-time employees. The library was a separate little branch that did have part-time employees. The majority of
Right.
employees are part-time. So as far as bumping rights, they really aren't entitled to anything, because they would be trying to bump a full-time employee. Well, they're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
So, and most of them don't want to go anywhere. They would like to stay. So, so.
You talked about the legislative action. Isn't there different options on how to form as a city library? I mean, becoming either a department of the city versus, you know, a board that's got more independence. Are there some variances there that we actually have to decide how we're going to reorganize as a city library?
Not that we.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the charter says that the city council creates departments. I mean, so that's kind of the premise where we would be operating under. I mean, if you were gonna go to a volunteer library where there's no compensation, I suppose that would be one option.
There are district libraries. That's one, that's where it's its own separate entity, it's its own taxing agency. That you have to partner with another, so we'd have to partner with a neighboring community, because it can't be just one. And that's a long process. There are many steps along the way. It would probably take 3 to 4 years to do that. And then it would be entirely separate. It would be the Taylor District Library. The most common there is Public Act 1864, PA 397, something like that. You can be created by resolution, by ordinance, by charter. You can also have, I believe it's 55 citizens can sign a petition stating they want to form a library. So there are 5 different methods under that. One is special act. Special act wouldn't apply. 55 citizens probably wouldn't apply. Resolution, ordinance. I think we did talk about that, and what the difference between being created by resolution, being created by ordinance. So it would be pretty much down to those 2.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to make it any more difficult than it has to be. So, you know, that we would move forward with a resolution, and of course, at that point, have all of the answers that we need for the staff.
Great.
And HR would it's likely that positions will have to be posted, they'll have to apply for them, they'll have to be interviewed, selected, and offered and accepted. which sounds like, you know, still, there's a lot to do, but a lot of it's just formality stuff, you know, that they're, I mean, obviously the people that are there, we're going to do everything we can do to move them over and keep them in a lateral position.
I mean, if it's any comfort, when we took over the Sportsplex, I mean, we moved in 2 weeks to get things all set and going. So it was kind of like they came in one day and said, guess what, City of Taylor, you own it and run it now. So it happens, and we work through it, we make it happen.
Great.
Okay,
That's something good to tell the employees.
yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.